up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
What's up, everybody? My name is Kate, and I am one of the members of the Plus Platoon. We are a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault to revisit some of the classic Disney that is on the platform. We are so grateful that all of you are joining us, whether you are watching live with us or listening to the podcast. We are so grateful that you are here. Make sure that you subscribe. You don't want to miss a single episode. So subscribe to us on YouTube, on Facebook, all of the places. We want to see your face. I think it's time to bring up some of the other tuners. I just made that up, but that might stick. We'll see. First up, we have my sister from another Mr. Rebecca. Hey, sis.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing? Oh, girl,
Good.
I'm ready, and I think we're ready to talk about some Star Wars.
I dressed for the occasion. This is from the Galaxy's Edge opening, and I'm so excited. And I would rather us be called the PPs. I knew we talked about it a little bit last week, but
Yes.
tuners is
it.
not good enough for me.
I'm here for it. And next up, we have my brother, Mr. Derek.
Hey, ladies, how are you?
Doing so great. I really appreciate your backdrop tonight, sir.
Oh, thank you.
I'm here for that.
Being the Sith Lord that I've been accused of being by certain members of the platoon.
That sounds right.
Oh,
Not
by the way,
everybody
guys,
here.
based on what they said, we really need names. We really need names for those of us who come because not gonna cut it. Nope.
Oh, and next up, we have my girl, Sam.
Hello,
Hey, Sam.
everyone. I'm going to vote for the tuners over the PPs. Let me just say it
Yeah.
like that. No PPs.
You know what?
The plusers is okay with me too, but
Plusers.
definitely whatever we do, I do not want us to be called the PPs. Okay?
Make sure that if you who are watching at home or listening, make sure that if you have a great name for us, throw it in the chat or shoot us an email because we want to know. And last but certainly not least, the other PP that is missing.
It's so terrible, you guys.
We're doing so good.
That's not
Hi,
my,
Pete,
that's
how
not
are
my last
I'm with
initial.
Ryan.
It's I only got one P.
Ryan says, I will not be called a PPer. Listen, Ryan,
Nope.
you're one of us now. So, oh my gosh. So tonight,
I gotta go. I gotta go with Sam here. Of the two, tuners is better than.
I don't like any of them. So come on,
that's
names.
fair. First up, we are heading to my girl Rebecca, who's got the Disney Plus news. What you got for us, sis?
Hey guys, so coming this Friday, we have X-Men Last Stand, which is a really often forgotten Marvel movie, and so it's really exciting to finally see it come to Disney Plus to kind of help complete the story of the X-Men. And then for parents with young children like Sam, well, he's not so young, but young enough, we have a new show. Well, it's not a new show. We have Special Agent Oso, and he is bringing his 3 special steps to Disney Plus on Friday. And if you watch Special Agent Oso, you know what the 3 special steps means. That was something that I found out. Thought it was super cryptic, but it's an Oso thing. So
I'm very excited about the X-Men edition, about Last Stand. My kiddo is a little old for Special Agent Oso, but you know what? I might watch it because I've never seen it. So
I really, really liked it. So I might watch it too.
I love that. All right. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say they are slowly funneling the Fox, X-Men and Fantastic Four
Yeah.
movies into the platform. So I think all the Fantastic Four movies of varying degrees of awfulness are there, and about half the X-Men movies are so far.
Yeah.
So I think eventually they'll all be there.
And I'm predicting we will eventually see an X-Men Avenger crossover.
Yeah, I think it's a ways off, but I think you're right.
I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So first up tonight, we are not talking about Marvel Universe. We are going to a different galaxy far, far away. See what I did there? We are talking about Bad Batch, episodes 1 and 2. This is the another Star Wars animated TV show that happens right after Clone Wars. So we're going to just jump right in. First of all, what sets it apart? What's working? What isn't? Pete, why don't you start us off?
So I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan. I admit the one set of shows that I have not fully finished is the Clone Wars. So but I'm aware of most of the story from it. So this story takes place right at the end of the Clone Wars series and right during episode 3, for those that know their Star Wars lore, which is essentially when the emperor becomes the emperor, and he orders the clones to turn on the Jedi and kill all the Jedi. And so this the series is about a group of clones that are kind of mutant clones. So they have like special abilities, and they also are not controlled like the most of the other clones are. So instead of following the orders and killing the Jedi, they're like, what the heck's going on? And they kind of set themselves apart. And so the first 2 episodes are really leading from, there's actually some actions that happen in the first episode that are the same as what we saw in episode 3, so of the movie series. So myself, I think I thought the show was really good. I enjoyed the first episode and even the second episode. It's interesting seeing like a time of Star Wars that we haven't really talked about, which is, okay, here's the Empire literally just took over. What happens, And, the Star Wars saga is, I don't know how long it takes, 55, 60 years or something like that. So there's a lot of space in there we haven't really looked at. And this is one place we haven't looked at too much, which is the rise of the Empire, I guess you would say. I hate using that term because everybody uses rise now. And I think what I like about it is like the clone characters. I mean, there are some main ones in the Clone Wars series that are kind of different, but they're basically all the same. But this group is like kind of funny and kind of goofy, and I really enjoy that each character has a little bit of different character to it. And another thing that's kind of neat is one of the more famous voiceover actors, D. Bradley Baker. He voices every single clone in every single iteration of Star Wars animation. So he voices all of the main characters. The same guy is voicing all of the main characters in the show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That makes a lot more sense then.
Yeah. So he's modulating himself, so to speak, so that each character sounds different. At least the main 4 clones, the young girl, he doesn't do the young girl, but I really got a kick out of it. And I'm a big Star Wars fan, so it's maybe easier for me, but it's starting out a lot strong. Let's put it this way. It's starting out a lot stronger than Clone Wars did, because part of the reason I haven't gotten to Clone Wars is a slog for several seasons. And so we've over the last year, my wife and I have been watching Clone Wars, and we're up to season 3, and it still hasn't really gotten that interesting. So we kind of watch a couple episodes, then we leave it for a few weeks. But this I'm really enjoying, and I'm curious to see people that are less Star Wars fans than me, what you guys all think.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I couldn't agree more. I agree with everything you said. I have seen the first season and half-ish of the second season of Clone Wars. I tried, because I love Ahsoka Tano. I loved seeing her during Star Wars weekends at Disney World. I loved watching her interact with people during weekends. I could not get into Clone Wars. I tried, and I'll probably now, because of Bad Batch, try again. But I think part of the reason I liked Bad Batch as much as I did, because I was not expecting to like it. I'll be really honest. I was not expecting to like it because I had no, and I'll throw myself under the bus here. I don't pretend like I know a lot about Star Wars nearly as much as I know about Marvel. I have seen all of them, but anyway, I didn't know any of these characters beforehand. Like in Clone Wars, you have Obi-Wan, you have Skywalker, you have all of these characters, and I didn't know any of the baddies. So I felt like it kind of took the pressure off of me to like, oh yeah, because this happens to this person in this movie later on, and in this movie this happened. And if there were characters like that, I mean, obviously the Emperor is there, and the guy that I cannot remember his name for the life of me, the bad guy.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
That's the one. See, yep. Real bad with the names. Other than that, I didn't know these characters, so I felt like I was walking in with a clean slate, and it took the pressure off me of having to remember, oh yeah, but then this happens, and this is why this happens later. And I was able to just enjoy it. So I really liked it. Rebecca, what about you?
Yeah, I'm really kind of in the same boat. I know absolutely nothing about Star Wars, and like not even I've seen a couple of things here and there. I literally have not. I have never chosen or in passing or have any of my family members ever been I want to watch Star Wars. And so in fact, my dad was a very big fan of Star Trek. So they're very different. Okay. And so going into this, I didn't really have high expectations, but I was just kind of, you know what, I have to watch it for the show. Willie has seen some of the Star Wars things, so he's interested in watching it. So we'll watch it. I really enjoyed The Mandalorian, and I feel like this is kind of similar, or it to me is kind of paralleled with it, for the reason that I feel we have the Bad Batch, and like Hunter is very much Mando, and then Omega is very much Baby Yoda. Not obviously, they're not super symmetrical, but that's how there's a parent-child relationship in both of the shows that I feel. Mm-hmm. And for me, I really love The Mandalorian, obviously because of Grogu, but I really like that it's super easy to watch, and I don't have to watch the rest of Star Wars to be able to understand this. As a beginner show, it's really easy to just watch a bunch of cartoons. And in episode 1, they kind of introduced them again. It's not like, oh, you have to watch Clone Wars and they just pop up and you know everybody's name. They reintroduced themselves, and they showed all their special skills, what they can do. And then one by one, we're like, this is Hunter, this is Echo, this is Wrecker, and like which went through all of the names of everybody. And so it was really easy for me to just sit there and watch it. I think that it's great. I like that there's kind of an overarching story, but each episode still has its own beginning and end as well. So it's very enjoyable. I'm actually excited to watch the rest of it. So what do you think, Derek?
I know you guys are all going to find this as a shock. I liked it.
He likes it. He really likes it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be Derek tonight. Then I'm playing the part of Derek.
It's the first Star Wars animated one that I've actually watched. I have not watched any of the Clone Wars, even though we were told, "Oh, you need to watch it to get the information." You didn't. I liked the tie-in to Order 66 because I have seen episode 3. So that was enough of a tie-in for me. I didn't need the background story of all the different characters. I didn't need to, I didn't have to watch 14 different movies, Marvel, in order to understand stuff. So I really enjoyed it. It's not great, but this is going to be one I'm not going to mind watching this for 10 episodes or whatever it is. So, okay, Sam, let us have it. Come on.
I am not watching this for 10 episodes. I'm going to just put it out there right there. I'll come on the show, but I'm not going to talk about it for 10 episodes. We're going to talk about what's good. So first, right? And then our next question, our next category will be about what we didn't like. So I'm going to focus on what's good. There's some humor. I like, I always like a little humor with my action. There's some great animation, especially the action scenes and especially the sort of spaceship scenes and stuff. I actually don't like the animation so much when they're doing faces. I think, the close-ups, I find it weird because you get into this universe where you feel like it's not animation because it's so well done with the animation in the space scenes and when they're wearing their helmets and stuff. But then when you see their faces, it looks Pocahontas-y to me. So,
okay,
right. So, I'm just, so I will say animation and effects are good and there's a little bit of humor, but I will say I am a Star Wars person-ish. I loved The Mandalorian. I have seen all of the major Star Wars movies. I have never seen any of the animation. This is the first I've ever seen of any of the Star Wars animation. I'm a big fan of Rogue One. I've even seen the Han Solo movie, which was okay, not terrible, not great. So I felt like I needed a lot more background. And I can't tell you how many years it's been since I saw episode 3, but I kind of wish that I had watched episode 3 before watching it. Maybe I would have enjoyed it more. But yeah, episode 3 was not my favorite of the movies either. But it's been since it came out in the movie theaters that I saw that movie. So anyway, that's sort of
a way to watch it.
I know. I wonder there must be some kind of online service where I can watch all the Star Wars movies again. But you know what? I'm probably going to be watching the Marvel movies. So, but I think that brings us to our next question, and I think I'm actually the first one to talk about
we've got
it.
some comments first.
Okay, first. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Ryan said, I tried to watch Clone Wars. I couldn't get into it. Bad Batch, though, it's growing on me. I feel that on a spiritual level. Ryan, you just get me. I feel that. I know Rebecca shot me a text like a couple days ago and was like, you know what? I liked it. Like, I think I liked it. Because I think Rebecca and I were both like, oh, God.
She did. She texted me a couple of days before that and was like, is the only thing we're doing Star Wars next week? And I was like, yeah. And we were like, oh no, no, I know, I don't like it. I don't like Star Wars. I know, but we got to do it. And then I was like, okay.
It's not bad. It's actually pretty good. Gina says, go ahead, Pete.
Well, I was going to say, and for those that have like tried to watch Clone Wars, and this is saying it as a Star Wars fan, Clone Wars, at least again, first 2.5 seasons is bad. It really is not good. It really isn't. So if that's your experience where I know Gina, hang in there, Pete. It's kind of amazing that like you're 3 seasons into a series and it's still not good. And they're like, oh, keep going. I'm like, I've watched 50 episodes. At what point does it get good? You just
have to finish it and then it gets better.
Yeah, when it's all done.
It's better when it's done.
Yeah. Yep.
But I do think that this show, even though it's tied into Clone Wars and tied into the movies, it still stood enough on its own that you don't really have to have a strong familiarity.
Right.
But it does help to understand what Star Wars is. I think if you just came in completely blind and didn't know
anything.
Right.
Yeah,
the only thing that's helped me like kind of even understand Star Wars was the fact that I've worked at Hollywood studios before. Like I know the music and I've watched the show at the Chinese theater and like that was it.
Yep. I know Gina had said that she liked the tie-in with Clone Wars. So yeah, awesome.
Ryan, we're gonna get to that.
We're gonna skip that one because we're gonna get to that. And Vicky said, I am also a Star Wars person-ish. That needs to be in the dictionary if it isn't.
I love that.
Person-ish, yeah.
Me too, Vicky, me too. So we are going to now move on to what needs to be reprogrammed.
Okay,
what
Sam.
isn't working? Sam's going to kick us off because clearly she is just very, very opinionated about this. So, Sam, take us away.
I really hate it, honestly. I really hate the show. I found it really difficult to get through, particularly the first episode. The second episode I actually found a little easier to get through in part because it's shorter, and the storyline moves a little bit quicker. I just felt like the storyline was a bit of a slog. I really did feel like I needed more background information about what was going on in the universe as a whole. I do think they did a good job of introducing the individual characters and what their abilities were, but I didn't feel like I had it took a while before I had an understanding of sort of what was going on in the world, meaning the Star Wars universe world, whatever you want to call it. And like I said, I have watched all of the Star Wars movies. I understood that this was after the Clone Wars. I will say I've never watched the Clone Wars series, so I don't really know too much about the storyline in the Clone Wars, and maybe that's part of why I didn't really enjoy it. I don't know, but honestly, I found the whole thing cheesy. I found the dialogue terrible. It was just not good for me. And I will rather watch, every Marvel movie 5 times than watch these episodes again.
Are you going to watch the Jane Goodall documentary?
No, actually, I will say I will still put this above the Jane Goodall, the Jane documentary.
That was so well played.
Yeah. So Rebecca, I will give you that. I will put this still above the Jane documentary, which was even longer than these 2 episodes put together. So, but for me, it didn't work. I get that I'm an outlier in the group. On this one.
Join the club. It's fun.
But yeah, it's okay. I'm okay with it. And like I said, I loved The Mandalorian. So it's not like I'm an anti-Star Wars person. I like Marvel more than Star Wars if I have to put them, sort of rank them. But I love Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at both parks. I love Rise of the Resistance. I think it's like one of the best rides ever. So yeah. All right, Pete, over to you, because I know you liked it, but what didn't you like?
There wasn't much I didn't like. Again, I haven't shown off my super geeky shirt here. It's
super geeky.
That's both math nerd or physics nerd and Star Wars nerd combined, because that's
mass times acceleration.
Mass times acceleration is 4.
That's very cute.
But anyways. now that I've presented my geek cred, the one thing I was kind of like, oh, they had to throw a kid in there because it's a Star Wars animated show, and every Star Wars animated show they have to throw a kid in there. I don't consider. I mean, yeah, Baby Yoda, but like that's not throwing a kid in there. That's something completely different. But Clone Wars kind of did it with Ahsoka, and Rebels did it with Ezra. There was a kid in there, and it's like, oh, we got to throw a kid in there. And I kind of was like, I hope this isn't going to be like she's got some kind of like force power or something. I don't know. I'm a little worried about that aspect of it, getting annoyed by it. I mean, I do. I think it was Rebecca mentioned the relationship between Hunter and Omega is good, but it's it's kind of like the typical reluctant father, but I didn't love that, but that might grow on me. Otherwise, I didn't really have any issues with the show. That was the only thing that I really would maybe say is I don't know how that's going to work out. But what about you, Kate?
Yeah. So just being really honest, I had very, very, very low expectations. Just like we had like Own the Stage and the Goodall, and I like expected it to fall somewhere in there. Probably partly because Clone Wars was so hard to get into, and maybe I just need to skip to season 3 of Clone Wars. I don't know. So I didn't mind it. It was exactly what I kind of thought. It exceeded my expectations because my bar was set so low. I went in with. I'm going to pretend like I did that on purpose. So I didn't mind it. I thought the kid was predictable cute. And then they're like, no, you're going away, you tiny non-human. And then she was like, no, I'm not. So it's just like, it's predictable. But I'm interested to see how the character development goes. But I mean, it was fine. It's fine. We'll see. Yeah. So Rebecca, what you got?
I am going to throw myself under the bus and say that I watched about the first half of the first episode, fell asleep through the second half, and then this morning watched the second episode, and I still completely understood everything that was going on. The only thing that I missed was that Crosshair got captured. And so like I asked Billy, I'm like, where's that character? And they're like, oh, this happened. I'm like, okay. And then I literally understood everything else. So if I had to watch the whole second half of that episode, I'd probably be in the same boat of like, that was completely unnecessary, because there was nothing that I felt like I missed. Exactly. So, and I really am with you, Pete. Like, I want the child gone. Like, I don't like the way that she says Omega. And like, I don't know. There's, to me, just like, not everything has to be a kid show. I get that it's animated, but like, I feel like the Lego Star Wars movies are not kid shows and they're animated. And so like, I don't want the child to be as important as she's probably going to be, because I would rather focus on the Bad Batch and the actual characters it's about. I feel like that's been something that Disney Plus has been struggling with. Like, they make the title of something and then it not be the focus of the show. I'm talking like Mighty Ducks. I'm talking Big Shot. Like, there's literally like it none of it just seems to match. So that's the only thing I had to say, is that I completely understood everything, but I only watched about 35 minutes of the first one. And so, yeah. Derek, what are you thinking?
And see, to me, that's a plus, that you can miss part of an episode and still understand what's going on. First episode was too long. First episode was way too long. You do not need an anime. I mean, let's face it. It was longer than a couple of the Falcon and Winter Soldier episodes, and less happened. And you know how I felt about how much happened in Falcon and Winter Soldier. So, yeah, first episode was too long. I think bringing the kid in, as you said, as everyone said, it was predictable. I'm afraid, Pete, that she's going to be force sensitive, and that's where they're going to go. I guess by not watching the Clone Wars, it threw me that the Jedi Padawan escaped, which I mean, because as far as I knew from only watching the movies, it was Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Luke and Leia, and that's it. So,
there's a few more out there, and in fact, that particular Padawan, that's it's not obvious at all and not necessary to know this, but that is actually Kanan, who's the Jedi in Rebels when he was a kid. So that character ties back into the Rebels series. But yeah, a few more Jedi than Obi-Wan and Yoda escaped, but not many.
Then why do they never show up? That's just my thing.
But most of them are in hiding because basically the entire Empire is hunting for them.
Yeah,
I guess.
fair.
I don't know.
Literally, both of you just went over my head.
I understood that part. I totally understood that part.
Just go with it. Yeah. I will also say I've seen some stuff online about the skin tones of the characters being lighter than they should than they were in their original appearances in the other episodes.
Oh, interesting.
To me, that as a newbie who hasn't watched the episodes, that's not something that's bothered me. But if Disney Plus did it intentionally, shame on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So I've seen they're looking at fixing it. It's like one of those, oh shoot, we didn't realize that. But that seems, not realizing it seems so out of character for Star Wars and so out of character for Disney that, I mean, if it's done, it's an unnecessary issue that's distracting from the content of the show. So, Kate, what kind of comments we got?
Yeah. What kind of comments do we have? Gina says, this show expects people to know Order 66. I'm going to butcher these names. Dave.
Filoni.
That's the one. That sounds like a pasta to me, but good.
And Jon Favreau.
That sounds like a dessert. Assumes a lot from their fans. That
Yeah.
is accurate. That's and even, I mean, like I said, walking into this, I am not. Do I appreciate Star Wars? Yes. Did I have a crush on Mark Hamill? Kind of. Like, but was Hayden Christensen stupid hot in the first movies? Sure.
No.
But like,
First movie?
No.
I just don't.
No, he wasn't in the first movie.
Oh,
He was
I
in
know.
the
No, like the
second
first
one.
movies, like
Movies.
the.
I understand.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
gotcha.
But I don't know.
I prefer
all of
Ewan
the things.
McGregor.
Listen, don't get me started, sister. But I don't know. And this is something I also struggle with in the Marvel universe is I forget who's connected to who, and my brain just struggles with that. But they expect a lot of us to remember.
That's
do
funny
we
because
have-
Jon Favreau does Marvel too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
he's just kind of tied with both
Yeah.
of these series of.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's
And
right.
he
He's
did
happy. He's happy.
Mandalorian. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ryan says the only
Um,
issue I had with the show was how long the first episode was.
Yep.
Animated shows over an hour. It's hard for me. Agreed. I would agree.
It should have been broken into 2 episodes, at least
Yeah.
2 episodes.
Or
And
just
they were-
shortened. Or
And
just
I think-
shortened.
I think this comment, the second comment by Ryan, that he wants
Yeah.
to know who the target audience is for the show. Some of the tropes seem a lot younger, but others don't. I think this kind of ties
Yeah.
in with some stuff that Rebecca and Derek were both saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think if obviously an animated show like this is targeted at younger audiences for the most part, and Star Wars nerds. So I'm the target audience, but like this group isn't necessarily the target audience. So,
Okay.
it's and again, I think that's why they always have a kid, because they want to have the character that the kids associate with, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
All
something
right.
else that I'm kind of over is the whole Jedi thing.
yeah.
I'm kind of
Entirety
tired of,
of-
like you guys kind of mentioned it earlier, like she's gonna have some force abilities. I'm kind of over that. Like everybody having something special.
Yeah,
And
I
just
hope
being able to,
that's
be
not
the
what
most
they do.
powerful of the galaxy, like that. I feel
Yeah.
like the story's long overdue.
I mean, they're clearly setting it up that, like the Bad Batch, she's a clone, but like she's the only female clone, so that there was, because all the other ones were men. So I'm hoping that it's more going to be she has, like, I don't know, some other ability that is not force powers, because I do agree it's like sometimes these shows get bogged down in force powers. I thought The Mandalorian did a pretty good job of not doing that, even with Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
But,
I'm a little not understanding though, if Omega is a clone, why she is a child. Because aren't
And
the
female.
clones right? And not just female, but why is she a
Well-
child? Because aren't most of the clones, when they're made to be like adults, or are they made?
No, they're raised from children.
Oh,
I believe they're designed to grow quickly, but
okay.
but they still
age.
if you watch through the Clone Wars, there's episodes where there's child clones that are being trained in to be fighters and things like that. So
see, background I did not know at all. I
Yeah.
just kind of thought they were
Yeah.
adults. Oh,
Yeah.
and
Gina,
Gina's
she
saying
Gina said-
doesn't have an inhibitor chip. Okay, that
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Because
That's what all the other clones
Crosshair is the
have.
one
That they
does.
like.
Oh, okay. See, this is
Yeah.
where this is one of those things that
Mhm.
is hard for me. Okay, so last thing we're going to touch on with the Bad Batch is who's your favorite baddie? Who's your favorite baddie? Derek, why don't you start this one?
I like tech. I've always been drawn to intelligent characters that use that as an asset. Think Egon Spengler in Ghostbusters is probably one of my favorite characters in all of cinema because he's not afraid to be smart. I love that the others recognize his strength, but that's not all he's good for. He's not just do a calculation. Okay, that's all you're good for. He's still a fighting member of the group. He's still a personal member of the group. But I always like characters that are not afraid to be smart. So, Sam, who you like?
Okay, so I'm going to say this doesn't answer Ryan's question as far as like who do I identify with, but I do have a favorite amongst the baddies, and that is Wrecker. I think he's the funniest of the characters that were, of the baddies. And my other favorite moment, I would say my favorite moment on the show was when Omega finds his stuffed animal and she gives it to him, and that was honestly, I just, because you didn't know whose stuffy that was going to be, and when she hands it to him, it just melted my heart and made me like him more. So he's my favorite for sure. No contest. I really don't like Hunter, and I know he's the lead character, so I knew you were going to be shocked by that, Kate. But over to you, Pete.
I really like Wrecker also. The funniest thing I think in that show is when he's like on the ship and he's like power lifting the gonk droid, the little walking droid that goes gonk gonk, and he's like exercising by just doing power lifts on this droid. So yeah, he's the most entertaining character, that's for sure. If I associate with a character, it would probably more be Tacken. But yeah, he's my favorite character so far. I do like that someone decided to make Hunter look kind of like a Rambo, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm really a fan of 80s Sylvester Stallone.
Yes. What's with the different colors on his face?
I haven't figured that out either. So
yeah, I don't know if it's a tattoo, a birthmark, or what, but yeah.
I got to try to look right here. Wait,
Kate,
you doing this, Kate?
So I liked Hunter. Okay, my favorite part though is when they like start the food fight, and like when Omega is like, "Don't you pick on my friends," because like I was like, yes, that's me. Like, I'm the tiny person who's like, "Don't you pick on my friends." But when Wrecker's like, "I like this kid," Wrecker reminds me of Drax from Marvel, and I love Drax.
Guardians of the Galaxy,
which is part of the Marvel universe.
Dave Bautista.
Okay.
In the Marvel universe,
yeah.
I love Drax. When all of the baddies came on the scene, I don't know if there are any video game players out there, but it gave me very big Halo Master Chief vibes. Mm-hmm. So, which I was hooked on immediately. But Hunter, I like watching his character development. And yes, is it totally predictable? Yep. And of course, he's the one that bonds with the kid. Yep. Is it as predictable as the Mighty Ducks? Probably. But I like him. I like that when he said, "Wait a minute, there's kids. There's kids out there. Like, wait, like there's women and children. This isn't just droids." And they're sent on a mission, and he's the one that kind of like brings the humanity into it. And as somebody who feels like this world needs more humanity, and recognizing more humanity, I'm very drawn to him. And I love that he has that rugged exterior, that like different, clearly you've been through something because your face is a different color, like on different sides, and has like a pattern. Like I'm drawn to him. I think he's awesome. So sis, what do you got?
I mean, I'm stuck between the two that we've mentioned, between Tech and Wrecker. I feel like Tech is very a dry humor. He's kind of like says exactly what he wants to, and then is like, duh, like everyone should know this. Like, why don't you? And I think that that's so funny. No, you were not. No. And then I Wrecker for, again, the obvious reasons that we mentioned, because he's so out there with the comedy and the different type of humor. They're just very opposite from each other, enough to the point that I think that they really work well together. So I'm stuck between the two of those. Which one do I think I am more like personally? Probably Wrecker, because he's more of a spontaneous type of person that's just like ready to go whenever. And I love that. I'm not a fighter, but I mean, I just like that he's just always on it and ready to go. So I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, the Star Wars universe is very serious. And the fact that I like Kate's point, the fact that like they had a food fight in the show that's not a Star Wars thing, you know. So it has brought a little more humor to something that can be very self-serious at many times. So it's not that it's completely missing humor, but it's not known for comedy in the Star Wars universe, right?
Ryan says that Kate as Omega makes absolute sense. I just needed to point that out as a comment. I kind of love that.
Listen,
but I also love Vicky's comment that we need Gina translate Star Wars as a show. I think that would be a great show. I would watch that.
She just needs to be on here for all of the ones. Every time we talk about a Star Wars, she just needs to be on face so that we can have someone who can understand it better.
Have like closed captioning from Gina explaining everything.
Yeah,
we want Gina. Come on.
I feel like it should be said that it's so interesting to me how different fandoms come together and how like clearly Rebecca has said and Sam has said they are Team Marvel. Like they love Marvel. And then we have people who love Star Wars. And then there are Harry Potter fans and there are Star Trek fans and there are Lord of the Rings fans. Like it's just interesting to me how different fandoms just kind of emerge,
Yeah, I'm a hardcore Harry Potter fan as well, by the way. I'm not just a Marvel fan. I'm not one-dimensional, okay?
I love that.
I'm actually all those things except Lord of the Rings.
If we ever start talking about Percy Jackson and Greek mythology, that's on me.
And I've got you on the musicals, which we'll talk about next week.
Okay, but I like real musicals. But anyway, so
speaking of, okay, well, does anybody have anything else they want to add before we move on? I think we're good. I think we've covered it. All right. So speaking of, we are moving on to one of my favorite segments, which is called Diamond in the Rough. Basically, if you've just joined us, if this is your first time listening, Diamond in the Rough is the things that we are watching that have caught our attention. They may not be totally from the vault. We're talking like we watched Peter Pan last week. But there's things that have come out that may not be as popular that we have kind of discovered. So we're going to kick it off with Sam. I want to know, what is your diamond in the rough? What is the thing that you have been watching that's caught your attention on Disney Plus that people may not know about?
Yeah, so I am going back to National Geographic because I think there are a ton of really great National Geographic shows on Disney Plus. But the one that I want to tell everyone that I think you should watch is Secrets of the Zoo. This is a behind-the-scenes look at the Columbus Zoo and their this kind of a wild animal park. I forget what it's called, but they basically have two parks and you get to follow the zookeepers and the veterinarians and see all their interactions and their care of the animals. And it goes through, medical issues and surgeries that animals have. And it's just an amazing behind the scenes look at the Columbus Zoo, one of the largest zoos in the United States. And it's several seasons long. I'm only on, I think, season 2 at this point, but I keep watching it whenever I don't have anything else that I really need to watch or is really going on and I just want to watch something that is enjoyable, I put it on. Now, my husband doesn't like some of the surgery scenes and stuff like that. So just a warning, there is some surgery that goes on. So if you're not into that, you might want to look away or fast forward through those scenes. But it's a really good series. Okay. What do you think, Pete? What about you? What's your diamond in the rough? That is a good series. The thing I wanted to comment on, and it was one of the earliest shows that came out on Disney Plus. I hope I'm not stealing this from Kate, is the show Encore, where Kristen Bell kind of hosted, and they would get a high school class from 10, 15, 20 years ago, even longer ago, and they would have the musical, whatever senior musical they did, they would have that cast get back together, and they had 5 days to put on the musical again. And I thought it was just fascinating the way that, and not every episode was great, but it's one of the few shows I've come back to and watched again because it was really interesting to see how these people changed over their life and the interactions that they may or may not have had with each other, and then in addition seeing them try to go back to their memories of high school. And I think that show's a lot of fun. It definitely helps if you know the musical,
Again, they do musicals from all periods. So they have an episode with Beauty and the Beast. They have an episode even with High School Musical. They go back to like Pippin or something like that. And it's really, if you like interpersonal, like real interpersonal drama, not The Bachelor type of interpersonal drama, and you like musicals, I think it's a really good show to catch in. And it's really a show you can just pick an episode and watch it. You don't have to watch it in order. So if you just like want to try it out, look at the list and see what, see a musical or a time period that you were from, and pick that episode and watch it. And you don't have to, it's not something you have to follow from episode to episode. I really hope they're going to get a season 2, but I haven't really heard anything. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I've
That's
seen
what I
a
like.
couple of those episodes. That was actually a fun one.
Yeah. What about you, Kate? I didn't steal yours, did I?
No, you didn't. And I actually thought about watching that. I am going to watch it at some point, but there was a show that caught my attention a while ago, and I've been working my way through the episodes. It's called Becoming. And it is about, I wrote down all the names, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's about 10 episodes. And it's got different actors, athletes, celebrities, if you will. And it talks about how they became who they are. It goes back to their hometowns. It talks to their families. It talks to their educators, their coaches. And it really is their becoming story. So you've got people, I wrote them down so that I wouldn't forget. You've got people like Nick Kroll, Julianne Hough, Adam Devine, Colby Calais, Anthony Davis, Candace Parker, Ashley Tisdale, Caleb McLaughlin, I think is how you say his name, Nick Cannon, and Rob Gronkowski, who are all, Ashley Tisdale did High School Musical. Julianne Hough has been on Dancing with the Stars, and she was in Grease the Musical. Adam Devine was in Pitch Perfect and so many other things. And it literally, Nick Kroll's story was one of my favorites because he didn't get his dream job. I want to say it was John Mulaney booked SNL. It was him and John Mulaney up for SNL, and John Mulaney booked it and Nick Kroll didn't. And so it talks about their struggle, and it talks about, and is it probably Hollywoodified? Sure. But sometimes we see these people who are NFL athletes or in the NBA or are celebrities, and we don't realize that it took them, it wasn't an overnight success. So highly recommend Becoming. Each episode is about 45 minutes long. So very good. Rebecca?
Amazing. I've kind of got 2. So the first one is, we watched this a long time ago, and they only did 1 season so far because it was at the beginning of quarantine. But it's called Be Our Chef. And it's like a Nailed It, another Cupcake Wars, basically just a cooking show. And they go through a whole series, but they have families on there. And so it's a mom, dad, usually 2 kids. And basically the families cook these different desserts and meals and stuff like that. And then at the end, the winners of the show got a cruise vacation. And in between each of the episodes, they're playing games with each other and stuff. And it was just a nicer way to watch, you don't have to watch Iron Chef America or all of these things. You can watch Be Our Chef, and it has, the host of the show is a little annoying, but everything else after that was really good. The kids are so cute, but they've only done 1 season, I think, because COVID came literally right as we were watching it together. So that's the first one. The second one is going to be Marvel's Runaways. This is a beginning to end 3-season show that doesn't really have any ties to any other Marvel movie or show. It's kind of its own standalone thing. Basically, it's a bunch of teenagers that grew up together. Their parents are a part of this big corporation together, so they've all been best friends since they were little. One of the main character's sisters dies, and that kind of split the group apart. And this all happens in the first 10 minutes, so it's like just the background story. The main girl's sister dies, and so everybody splits apart, and basically the parents are crazy. They do this corporation that they work for is not what they say it is. There's a whole behind the scenes stuff that the kids eventually find out about. And all the kids have some type of special power. There's a dinosaur. It's really fun. We watched it couldn't keep our eyes off of it. There's a lot of stuff that you just literally would not expect. There's aliens, magic, witchcraft, the dinosaur, like I said. It's literally everything.
You're
Science,
speaking my language.
Yeah. Third transfiguration, third dimensional stuff, time travel. It's literally everything. And then right at the end, there's Cloak and Dagger, which if you've seen that show, those two characters cameo in one of the final episodes of it. And it's just really fun. They have a comic series too, but the show we thought was really great. So that's on Disney Plus. It was originally a Hulu show, but it's over there. You can watch it. It was really, really good.
Does it wrap up, or does it like just kind of end?
It does wrap up. There's one kind of overhanging thing, but it doesn't, it doesn't end the story. Or doesn't keep you like, well, what's going to happen next? It does come to an end where everything kind of finishes except for this one. But it's a very multi-dimensional, different timeline thing. So it's kind of a low-key thing where
I'm gonna watch that.
It's really good.
I have not watched it, and that sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, it's got literally everything that you can probably think about. What do you think, Derek?
For me, I think we may have mentioned this one before, but I couldn't remember, and I really loved it, so I'm going to mention it again. Prop culture.
Ooh.
Which is basically I don't remember who the host is, but he goes back and finds all the different props from all the old Disney movies.
Oh, cool.
I especially loved the Mary Poppins episode and the Who Framed Roger Rabbit episode. In the Mary Poppins episode, it was really interesting to see the reactions of some of the stars as they were reintroduced to key pieces of their props or wardrobe. Karen Daughtris, who played Jane, is really moved. They have her original costume still there. So when she sees that, or when Richard Sherman sees the original globe from Mary Poppins and starts playing Feed the Birds, it's just one of those moments of, is it dusty in here, or it's got to be allergies or something. So it definitely tears me up. And Ryan definitely agrees. Prop culture is very good. I think there's 6 episodes. They run half-hour-ish, so they're an easy watch. I know they do. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is another one of them.
No fun.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah,
Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah,
Pirates of the Caribbean, they do.
I will admit the Night Before Christmas is the episode I didn't watch, just because I've never been a fan of the movie.
Yeah,
I'm not a Tim Burton fan of anything.
I like it. It's not my favorite, but I like it.
You're watching this at home. I'm surrounded by rebel scum.
Well, yeah,
I
you
saw
knew
it at
that
the
for a while
theaters.
now. So, yeah, and Ryan, definitely says his Diamond Enough is the right stuff. Okay, Ryan.
I like that.
The series or the movie?
Series. He's talking.
No,
I think he's talking about the series, but I've seen both. But I actually enjoyed the series. I know you didn't enjoy the series, Derek. I know we've talked about it. We've talked about it. I think offline. I don't think we've talked about it on the show, but I actually did enjoy that series. Again, that's another National Geographic. That's Oh, there we go. He's clarifying the series. Yeah.
Tina. And I totally agree with Tina. Yeah, definitely would love to see more prop culture episodes. I would bet there's a season 2 coming again. I bet it got interrupted by COVID. So
yeah. So totally. Go ahead, Tina. Yes.
Definitely loves watching Encore. Gina agrees. Encore, the right stuff. Prop culture. So you've got some stuff that if the Bad Batch is not your speed and Big Shot and Mighty Ducks are not your speed, we've got some suggestions for you. So now, Kate, what are we doing next week?
So before we jump to what's doing next week,
sorry.
I love the fact that some of you are telling us you're watching at home, and you know what?
Yeah.
We want to join you in that. Many of our episodes that we want to do, we want you to be a part of the conversation. So please make sure that you let us know what you're watching, because we want to talk about that. We want to be in context. So just like it says right here, if you have something, make sure that you send an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com. We want to hear what you are watching. Brian says Big Shot will never be my speed. That's just watch Mighty Ducks. You'll love it.
That's all right. I'm still watching it, and I know Rebecca's still watching it. So.
Yeah, I'm too.
Oh, and
Next
me
week.
too.
Clearly,
Yeah,
I
Kate, go
am
ahead.
very excited, you guys. Next week, High School Musical, the musical, the series, season 2 is coming out. Listen, you all know that I have a weakness for 2 things when it comes to Disney Plus: documentaries and musicals. And High School Musical is right up my alley. So next week, we are going to be talking all things High School Musical. Get caught up, because you know what? We do tell spoilers on here, but we want you to join us. So anything else from the gang?
I'm not looking forward to watching it.
Nope.
I purposely went out of my way to not watch the
That's
first
hilarious.
season of
I did
the show.
I did watch the first season. It wasn't my favorite, but I did watch the whole season because I did kind of want to know what happened, in the end. And so we'll see. I hope season 2 is better than season 1, though. I'm going to say that.
I did not have Disney Plus when the first season came out, and I've been busy watching other things. So guess what I'm going to be doing this week? Watching all of first season and then starting second season. But
I'm sorry.
So I don't actually know what.
Am I the only one that likes the first
I know
season?
more. I know more about the actors who played the characters' lives than I do the characters they play.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was, Pete, to answer your question, Pete, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was terrible, but it wasn't. I much prefer the high school. I actually much prefer the movies, the High School Musical movies, to the series. So
I quite enjoy the first one. The other 2 not so much.
I agree.
But I enjoyed the series probably more than I enjoyed the original movies. And my daughter and I were watching it together, and so maybe that's why. It's not like Emmy worthy or anything. It's not great television, but I thought it was entertaining. I like the music. I like the characters. So, hey, we're all in this together, right?
I know the dance to that song.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan. Zac Efron. That's the only reason to watch the other 2
You know
movies.
what? High School Musical came out when I was. Oh, Derek, go ahead. You had something you wanted to share.
No, Rebecca was first. Go ahead, Rebecca. You had
Go
something
ahead,
to
Rebecca.
I have ADHD. I forgot. Go ahead, Derek.
say. I was gonna say I'm not quite sure. I'd rather watch a Jane marathon, but we shall see how this goes. I would just love that. I was able to watch something good for a week. So Rebecca, I think Rebecca's got it back. So what you got?
I remember now. Peter, how dare you? The second High School Musical movie is way better than the other 2, the first or the third one. The second one is so good. It's the best. They go to the spa.
Yeah, I know what they do. I've seen it.
Yeah, amazing.
No, the first one is the best. The only reason to watch the later ones is Zac Efron. That's what I'm going to say.
Does everyone agree the third one stinks?
Yes.
I've never seen it.
They're all great. They're all great. They're all great. They're all great. It's fine. Anyway, hey, everybody, we are so grateful that you join us every week. But please go follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. We are at Plus Platoon. You can't miss us. We want you to be a plusser, a tuner. We're figuring it out.
No.
Again, next week we are watching all things High School Musical. Hey, we're so glad.
Can we just say be part of the platoon?
Be part of. Oh, I like that.
Enlist in the platoon.
Enlist in the platoon.
Enlist in the platoon. Wherever you are across the whole world, we sure are glad that you are a part of the Disney magic with us. Whether you're watching near, watching far, we hope that you take the magic with you wherever you go. We're so proud to have you a part of this platoon with us. Make sure you check in next week. We will see you all real soon. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews, as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.